This is Diana with Pretty Impressive Nails, and I have just a quick little review video for you for our flat and wide bed nail girlies. My right thumb is about 16 millimeters, my left thumb is about 14.5, 15 millimeters. I have a really hard time trying to find nails that fit, seeing as 14 millimeters seems to be the tippy top of how big they come. So they are extremely flat, as you can see. And so not only are they wide, but they're very flat, and that makes it very hard. So you have a few choices when you go to put your nails on. You can use just the regular in the bottle, glue gels, which are, thin or thick depending on which brand, but they're not that thick. So no more consistency than your average face coat for the most part. Then there's things like this Saviland Solid Nail Glue Gel, and this is more like a rhinestone glue, thicker consistency, kind of like poly gel. You can see here. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, so closer to poly gel, but not quite. And then, of course, you can always do like the lazy girl method, use poly gel, which is pretty close in the consistency of the solid glue gel. And then if all else fails, you can use something like these non-stick builder gels. These ones that, can be rolled into little balls for pretty sculpting and whatnot. So depending on how much you need to fill in the nail that doesn't quite fit, isn't flat enough, whatever you need to do. So for something like these are the Unigella 15 size short coffins. You need about a 1 on this thumb. These aren't super high apex, but you can see there's some room in there. So just a regular glue gel, and they wouldn't quite fit. I could make it work, but to truly make them comfortable, I would probably need something more middle of the road, like maybe this thicker glue gel or the Saviland. Polygel I could maybe use, but that's really hard for me to do the lazy girl method because I have to find a nail that's actually a size bigger, which for my thumbs is almost impossible. And then of course for these thick building gels, I would just put them in the middle of the nail. Usually I would use a clear. I'm just using a color so you can kind of see how I would do this. Easier to see on camera. So you would put a little bit more towards the middle and make it a little thinner on the edges, kind of how you would do polygel, But basically you're filling in that part where your flat nail doesn't have the apex. This is the best thing I figured. So then you would just take it, push it down at a 45-degree angle until you have it on your nail the way it should be. This stuff is pretty solid too, so see it's not even cured yet, and the nail stays pretty still. So as you can see, it has filled in that gap that I had there from my nail not having its, any curve or apex to it. So depending on how it feels, I may take it off and put just a little bit more in there, or if I wanted the pink to be fully under there, I may put a little bit more. But that's one way I get around not being able to find nails that are flat enough. So I'm just going to run through a few brands here that you can use. So these Unigellas, you can use them with something like this. If your nails are like, let's say if my nail is 80% flat, you could use this, with a nail that's maybe 60% 75%, you're going to want to use something like the glue gel, maybe the poly gel, but any more flat than 75%, you kind of want to start getting into these sticky velvet nails here. It makes your life a lot easier, especially if it's something with a C curve. Now, if you just want to find some nails that you don't have to mess with that, and you can just use this, call it a day, do the regular Gel X. Here's a couple brands that I found. This is Mellois, I think that's how you say it. Soft gel tips. These are a medium stiletto. And they come in like 12 sizes, half matte, pre-buff, medium stilettos. So these fit pretty well. I can use just the regular glue gel. Their zero fits my smaller thumb perfectly. On the right thumb, you do have to kind of pull the nail just a little bit, just to kind of take a little of the side, you know, the curve out of it. And then I can make it work on my wider thumb. But this is the zero. So if your thumb is any bigger than mine, you know, flatter than mine, you may have an issue. And this is that nail. This is the zero. There. Okay. And all of these brands I found on Amazon. So pretty easy to get. Nothing is over like 12 bucks. So yeah, these little cases are like 5 or 6. Won't break the bank, you know. You're not stuck having to only buy like an expensive brand or something. Okay, so these are Betty Cora medium almond pre-shaped soft gel nail tips. And again, this is the zero on my left thumb. That's just a little smaller, about 15 millimeters. This fits. On my right thumb, which is like 16 millimeters, this fits too. I do usually with the round shapes though have to file the cuticle edge to make it just a little straighter, but I'm sure a lot of us have that problem too. Then a more recognized brand is like these Beetles. These are a medium stiletto, and I marked these as particularly flat nail bed friendly because they are pretty flat, especially for a stiletto. I mean, I guess they're like a true stiletto. Those other ones are more of an almond stiletto. So these have a straight cuticle area, so I don't have to worry about changing them. And they're fairly flat. Just to make my life easier, I can take a little bit of this sticky little solid builder gel if I want, especially if you know you want the color. Like I said, usually I use clear when I use these, but so you can actually see it on camera, I'm using this pink. And I'm just going to show you here how it fits. And this is why I don't usually use very much of solid gels, because needing a zero, if I use too much, well, then the nail's not actually big enough. So I'll kind of push it down and then just clean it up. But with these ones, they're so thick, you know, you don't have to worry about having a clip on them. You don't have to worry about sliding around. Honestly, you don't even have to flash cure them. You can just get them all on and then cure them all at once if you want. As long as you know you're not going to hit them or anything. So just clean it up a little bit, you know, so you don't cure anything to your skin. Gives you a little time to get it just how you want it. And the good thing with this is too, if they're, say, you know, they're just a little too small here or right here because they're too rounded, not straight enough. If you use, like, especially the clear, it'll fill that in just a little tiny bit. You can kind of play with it. Just for those tiniest little spots. I mean, if it's a big gap, it's not a good idea. You don't want pure gel on your skin, but for that little tiny bit of nail that's not covered, it'll work in a pinch. So as you can see, now there is no gap. Oh. Now there's no gap. Usually, if it's a nail that's not super high apex but needs a little extra, I'll use a regular glue like this and then put just a little dot of this sticky builder stuff in just the middle to fill in that apex. I know you can do it with the bottle stuff or like builder in a bottle, and you can most definitely do it with this, but for me, that's just kind of what works, trying to deal with my flatter nails, especially because I use my hands a lot. These are the medium stiletto nail tips by Beetles, 500 pieces, 10 sizes, full cover. And then I have these medium coffins from Beetles, and these ones just don't cut it. They start at a 1 instead of a 0, go figure. So I can't even get the biggest size on my thumbs. And that's my smaller thumb. So that's a big no. Then, luckily, I have another medium coffin. These I got on Amazon as well. They just say soft gel tips, medium coffin, 550 count box. These are half matte. Yes, half matte. And these will work with just a little bit of the liquid glue without any of the other products if I want. One of the few brands that I can. Now, there is a bit of a C-curve to the part like after the matte. I don't know, it's weird, but the part with the matte is a bit more flat. So I can make it work. So this is a good brand if you have wide and flat nail beds. Unfortunately, I have not found the Models 1 brand or type that works for me yet. The Model 1 soft gel tips, full matte almonds, I was really excited to try. And I can get them on my smaller, like, 14 and a half, maybe 15 thumb, but the other thumb that's a 16, it takes a lot of work to get it. I have to fill in the corners, and I most definitely have to use something to build an apex with these underneath. So I have to use either Saviland type of nail glue gel, poly gel, or the solid builder gel. Most likely I would probably use a little bit of this and then use the solid in just the very center. But these are a really good nail. So if your finger is just a little smaller than mine, if you're sometimes a 1, not always a 0, definitely check these out because they're not, super curved. These are quality tips and they look great. I'm gonna play with them some more and get the work out. Again, these are the Model 1s, full matte, medium almond, 500 pieces, 10 sizes. I've only tried this one type of McCart so far. And these are the McCart Nail Pump Ups Square Soft Gel, 500 pieces in 12 sizes. And the 0 is just barely big enough for my smaller thumb, but I would have to fill it in a lot. Honestly, I don't even know if I can fill in that much. And for my other thumb that's just a little bit bigger, I don't think I can make it work, unfortunately. These are closer to the Tamika brands with the amount of C-curve, which which sucks because these are a very solid, high quality tip. But again, I'm going to play with them some more and see if I can't fix that. But right now, what I'm really trying to do is just give you some choices and some things you can use right out of the box with just, you know, one of these types of glues. So you don't have to sit there and customize every single nail. Of course, these are the Tamika ones that I already reviewed. Great quality tip, not a bad tip at all. And I can fill these in with the builder. But again, it's like the other coffins. They're very, very rounded once you get past your free edge there. So much so that it's just a little uncomfortable. But with tips like this, you can kind of, you know, go like this a little bit, even turn it inside out kind of once, and it really stands out the edge there. And then it'll fit a little bit better. You won't need quite as much, like, you know, builder gel, solid builder gel inside of there. So if they're like just this side of too small, you can do something like that. These are the Tamika 10 sizes, 50 pieces, 500 of each, 500 count long coffins. Like I said, really nice brand, really nice tips, just don't work for me. And the last one here, these are the Beatles square long, 500 pieces, 10 sizes. They're tips. The zeros are absolutely huge. This is one of the biggest zeros I've ever seen. So if your fingers are just wide, you know, definitely check these out. Now, if they're wide and flat, you may have a little trouble. But again, if you just use some of the builder gel, then you can get it to work. Like these ones are even a little on the big side on my smaller thumb. On my larger thumb, they fit perfectly. So I'd have to say these ones are probably like 16 millimeters. You know, the zeros are probably close to 18. So these Beatles square longs, if you have bigger, you know, than a 16 millimeter thumb, check these out. Because even if your nails are very flat like mine are, you know, you can use something like the solid builder gel here and make it work. Because I have not seen something that are wider than these as far as just tips go. So yeah, so it's a quick little rundown of everything that I found as far as some short, medium, and longs go. Now, if you're into really long nails, like 3XLs, you can get this, if you say it in the lowest, probably murdering that. Extra long nail tips, they're 3XL square straights. And I get these on Amazon too. Everything you can get on Amazon. This is a 0, which is just a little bit, it just about fits my smaller thumb. Just a little too small on my bigger thumb, but if I straighten out this part with just a little bit of filing, the cuticle, it fits this perfectly. It is very, very round there. So you may have to file it to straighten it out just a little bit. And then you can definitely fit this one 16 millimeters. But they're super long. So, I mean, you can always cut them down, no big deal. But they're pretty good tips. You know, I'd say they're definitely worth the money. And these are 12 different sizes. This, like I said, I think the 0 is like 15 and a half, 16 millimeters. So if you like really long nails, that's not a bad one. And like I said, all these can be found on Amazon. So that's the lowest extra long nail tips, Betty Cora, medium almonds, the lowest soft gel, medium stilettos, the Beatles, medium stilettos, 10 sizes. No idea what this brand is, but the medium soft gel coffins, 550 count box, it's green. I think you can get these on like can use without having to do too much to them, too much filing, having to use the gel glue and the builder gel, you know, just having to spend half an hour customizing before you can even do the mold, you know, which kind of defeats the purpose of quick gel X, if you ask me. The ones that kind of fit, you know, with just a little bit of fussing would be the McCart squares, the Tamika long coffins, I can make them fit, and the Beatles square longs, like I said, they're just a little too something. I don't know. I can make them work though. The medium coffin Beatles, not at all. Can't make them work. The biggest one I think is 12 millimeters. I should have checked that size better. And the Model 1's full matte medium almond, their 0 is only like 12 millimeters. So again, can't really make it work without having to customize and use 2 different ways to put it on, and you know, having to put some poly gel in the corners, or you know, file it. It's just all that extra work, you know. It depends on how much of a perfectionist you are, but if you want quick and go, you know, I had the first list there for you. If you don't mind putting in a little bit of work, or your nails aren't quite as flat as mine, you know, you can use the second batch I showed you. And some of the ones that I really like to use if the nails are pretty close to perfect is the Betty Cora, because this one's thicker. This is the 8-in-1. This Prep-in-1 here isn't super thick, but it's not really thin. So this one I do like, but I tend to use this more when I use this as well. The Petty Core I can use just by itself. Same thing with the Savvyland glue gel. I can use this just by itself. Poly gel, I can use this just by itself. Tend to use clear, not pink, but you know, again, for demonstration purposes, so you can actually see it. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I would love to try to answer some questions, or if I went over things too quickly, you know, and you kind of wanted to ask another question, maybe I didn't answer something, yeah, just drop me a line in the comments and I will do my best to get back to you right away. I'm also going to do a review of some half cover tips and some AliExpress tips, because I did actually manage to find some full covered duck nails. Not 100% on if I like those or not, but I found some and they actually work with flat nails. So yeah, this is Dinah with Pretty Impressive Nails. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.